the 3.7 trillion naira budget that was added to the budget, the initial 25 trillion naira, when it was signed, so it's now 28 trillion naira. And the senator who blew that whistle has finally been suspended for 3 months after a back and front yesterday during the rowdy section in National Assembly. He was finally suspended for 3 months, but with a window. If he's able to bring in an apology letter within 24 hours, will be taken back into the National Assembly, that's the Senate red chambers. But I'll be looking at that from our Abuja end this morning. Like I said, I have two guests already seated in the studio. Starting from my far right is a regular guest here in us. Is Dr. Garros Gololo, APC chieftain. Very good morning to you, Doctor.
Thank you very much for having me this evening.
All right, I have close to me here, by nearest right, it is a public affairs analyst, Emmanuel Tafa. I hope I got that name right.
You almost.
Very good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let me begin with your opening remarks for both of you, probably 1 minute each. Was there anything like padding in 2024 budget? Looking at what's played out yesterday, or right from when Ningi made that allegation during the interview had with a foreign media station. Let me begin with you, Manuel.
Well, what really is padding? It has become a regular cliche in our budgeting. This is not the first time we're hearing that word, padding. And what do we mean by padding? We are yet to come up with a proper definition of understanding what padding is all about. But taking from the way we understand it, it means what was proposed, because there was this argument back and forth whether the National Assembly has the right to touch or add or subtract from what the executive presents in the process of budgeting. But I think it's because we do not have an understanding. The executive, the legislature is not just a rubber stamp. When the executive presents, it's like you are writing to somebody who supervises you. You apply, okay, I want to do A, B, C, D. Is it automatic that whatever you apply, the person who has the authority of approving should just endorse and say, I approve? No. It's for the person to scrutinize and look at it and say, okay, you want A, B, C. No, I think this should be A, C, D. And then make some adjustment and approve. So if we understand it from that point of view, I do not know where this issue of padding is coming in, except where there are things that do not go through the normal process, the proper process, and maybe from somewhere from the background, somewhere something is smuggled in. And I understand based on what Ningi was trying to prove, was that there was something untold that was not in the original plan, and then probably was not part of what was submitted and was smuggled in through the back door for the benefits of maybe some few individuals, not for the benefit of the country.
All right, let me get your thoughts, Doctor, on your opening remarks. Padding, just like you said, it's just a word that was captured, and now we describe any abnormality in our budget as a padding. Do you agree with that?
No. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, viewers. Me, to what I understand, a padding is something that after the budget has been made and it is signed on so amount, you now increase it for your own selfish interest. This is not the first time. During Buhari, they do this. The 8th Assembly do this. Even from the beginning, even during Jonathan, when the Bima was Senate President, this
from 2000
is constantly from Obasanjo to date. So seeing this party now, at least they will not even suspending it because it's something routine. If something is happening, okay, look at after they say they suspending one Jumo Ibrahim, who is now contesting for governor on the state because he wants to have his own this thing. As a senator, he's a sitting senator, you're a sitting senator. You say Inspector General of Police should arrest him. Arrest him for what? Is he culpable homicide or a criminal? So does it, and then one of the this thing again, the Solomon, who is the chairman committee on the appropriation. Solomon served in Lagos for 20 years. He was a member House of Rep from Lagos State House of Assembly before you go back to Ogun. Amisu was the one who bring you back to Ogun. He contest as a senator again. So now is the one they put all those key points. They put the appropriation bill. It's written from bill like this will this position, this one will be two positions. Look, this is the first time where we have a sitting member, House of Rep, 5 of them become a minister. 5 of them come a minister through the chief of staff to the president. Let us not convince ourselves. Ningi matter has not even been suspended because why? Okay, now they say Ningi is suspended, fine, and they if you watch the Senate president after they finish this thing, you read the letter. There's another one again. He said they should prove past government of President Muhammadu Buhari 3 billion. I don't know that I've seen it. He was a minister during Buhari, minister for Niger Delta. He have case in EFCC. Before then, you have another one from the state. Okay, listen. Now, after you fail to do that, what happens? You now come out accusing Ningi. In fact, I don't see a suspension. Okay, they said they give them 500 million. You had it for every senator.
Right,
how many senators will do that job?
Doctor.
How many of them?
What I want us to establish here is that the fact that Ningi made this revolution and the Senate was trying to clear that yesterday. Statutory allocations for agencies that are not under ministries, or agencies that work probably under the presidency or they are standing on their own, like the INEC. You know, INEC is not attached to any ministry. We have the Nigerian Judiciary Council also, the same thing. Now, Emmanuel, I want you to define this now. If you have a certain amount of money that is earmarked for agencies that are referred to as frontline charges.
First line charge.
Yes, those agencies are there. Why didn't they just include it in the first process when they were going through the budget? Why wait until when it was signed before Nigerians get to know that, okay, there was an addition of that money?
Well, first, let me say, Ningi is an experienced legislator. And in all honesty, when you watch what transpired, you begin to wonder why he found himself, boxed himself into such a corner. Ningi has been about 17 years in the legislature. He was in the House of Rep before moving to the Senate. And if for whatever reason you uncover certain facts, which you say you pay the consultant, I heard him, he said he paid 30 million to consultants who show that there was something untold. Now you have a report. Why was he keeping the report to his chest, only to himself? Even when he had a meeting with the Senate President, I'm not exonerating the Senate President. Just as Doctor pointed out, I also raised some issues about him, that where they talk about they are probing the past. I was telling somebody that you should also be very careful, because be careful, because in the process of hunting, you might end up hunt yourself, because we are aware the issue of the mic, that is an issue that is still there. Yes, we have not looked at that yet. So, but for you to raise allegation, you know, in our laws, he who alleges has a burden of proof. Now, if assuming you had any of such issues, you raise such issues, you say you have evidence. When they met, the agreement was that, from what transpired on the floor yesterday, was that, okay, make these copies available. Now, even if you had no confidence in the Senate President, for instance, you are leading a forum of northern senators. Now, if there was something you really have and you are confident about that, at least you should have taken even your fellow members in the forum of northern senators into confidence and maybe circulate this to them. They would have helped your case that yesterday when this thing came to the floor. But even the secretary of the forum was not carried along. No other member of the forum was carried along. Only you kept it to yourself. If you see even Kawu himself, yesterday, more or less like denied knowing anything about it. So it now begins to raise doubts about whether you truly had this in. But that's on the one side. there are agencies that are what you call first line charge, meaning their funds comes directly from the federation account. The entire budget which was submitted by the president, I think it's not even 25 trillion as alleged. I think it was 27 trillion. Now, at the end of the legislative work by the National Assembly, there was an addition which brought it to 28, which was finally passed. Now, judiciary, the executive has no control over their funds. INEC and a number of others. You would see that it was even yesterday that the FCT budget, for instance, was submitted. But it is still within the entire 28 trillion. Now, the other details will now begin to come from these agencies, as it is. That's why they are called first line charge, because you are not supposed to begin to bring their money from this. You give them a whole sum. They will now begin to have their details on how they operate and use their fund. So I do not understand why Ringing, with his experience, decided to was keeping the thing as if it was a secret, personal and secret. Whereas, again, another area where I found fault with him was that you all met, you agreed that, okay, let's not go to press yet. Let's look at these facts as they are. You would have given that benefit of the doubt if you had agreed together. Or if from beginning, if you had said, no, I'm not party to it, that would have entirely been a different thing. But you didn't do that, then you suddenly jumped into the press. Okay, at the floor yesterday, tender these things where every Nigerian was watching. If you had tendered it, okay, ABC, this happened. In so place, this happened. Probably would have.
But Doctor, was there an hidden agenda? From what you just explained now, if you have documents to prove that so happened in the budget, why didn't he just present it? Because there was another allegation there that it could be a civilian coup. That's probably that's a hidden northern agenda. Bamidele brought up that
it's a coup.
The civilian coup.
There's no civilian coup. The coup, you cannot operate. I'm a retired military man. There's no way you operate a coup when you don't hold a gun. Because you have to silence the person, you have to capture a radio house, what it is your television, so that you cannot operate and give any news. And that doesn't happen. You can't just go coup in paper in the whole world. That one is bad. Look, what I understand is that, you know, Ningi, one the other senator went Abo when he was going, he mentioned Ningi name. Say after him, Ningi, he said this is what happened. But to all to that, what I understand, all are senators, all of them, they are 109. And they give them money, 500 billion. They said they measure in the below. How many of them go to their constituency? It's only 2 of them. I always mention.
The money is not for everybody.
I am coming. It's for
the ranking senators.
Ranking senator, the more ranking senator, I just want to talk about them. Those who are not even ranking senator, it goes to them. Who are, look.
Because the senator that brought up that at the Senate, the senator, he said he did not get any.
They couldn't send it because he's not a ranking senator. And those who are ranking senator, I'm telling you how many of them distribute this. There's people who are just first comers. Like I mentioned, you see how Yari distribute food. Former governor of Zamfara said, you see the other senator again, Sheikh Buba, how from Bauchi South, how many of them, and then you see, if you watch TV yesterday, the senator of FCDA, King Gibe, she's against the minister. He said the minister doesn't meet her. How can minister meet you? They appoint this minister, he's a minister for federal capital, you are senator, vote senator. You have to work for those people, you don't have anything to do with the minister. He said the minister doesn't respect him, he is no relation with him. Issue is, yesterday he said he's responding to Aduda, and Aduda is not a senator. Mind you, Aduda, no matter he failed election, but he still have people. That is one. And then Wike, he doesn't have anything to do with Aduda or to do with the senator. What he do is, as a minister, to work. Look, this is the first time we have minister 45 and only 3 of them are working. Wike himself and the minister of works and housing, and health. 3 of them after 45, what are they doing? The same thing with the senator. I put it to them. What you know why they are fighting this thing? Because some people did not get to them. That is why they are fighting. They are fighting for their pocket and their family, not for me and you.
So the money is for projects, not for
It is for project for their family.
You know, first
It's
and
not for
foremost,
us.
I have a challenge with the issue of saying some
not
senators,
for us.
some people are ranking and others are not ranking. Then you allocate funds to some people and you refuse to allocate to others. All senators are equal, are senators. First and foremost, let's understand this. The fact that you've been in the Senate before me do not make you any different than I am. You may have acquired some experience because probably you were there before me, or maybe you had the experience of being there once or twice. The same way you campaigned and got elected by your people, the same way I got elected. So I have a problem with that issue where you will say some are ranking, so you allocate some funds to them. Now, it also comes from our misunderstanding of the whole essence of participatory democracy. One, a legislator has no business with execution of projects. We need to understand this very clearly. We are gradually introducing that into our democracy, and it has more or less like come to stay. We believe that the legislator must come and execute project. Execution of project is purely the business of the executive.
Yes, it's to oversight.
Is to make law first, to oversight. Now, why should a legislator begin to? Today, you go to ministries and agencies. Legislators some of them have become like contractors in Abuja here, or they appoint contractors. You hear this project is for this senator this or this honorable this, and they appoint contractors that want to do this business. It's not their business. But you know, we are so used to this doing things upside down. So why should you begin to allocate to say this money is for senator this or that? For instance, my senator, even when until I think one or two legislators raised their alarm, there was money, whether food or stuff, were allocated for December, during December. How many I never saw any of my representatives or my senators. They are even inaccessible. To access them, you call them, you talk to them. Even at my level in this town, you try to reach them, they feel too important and too big. You can't access them. So the whole thing is that we have misunderstood what this democracy is because of, some would argue that it's because of our long history with the military. We still have that mentality. We believe that once I am a legislator, I am above, I am too big, nobody should come near me. There is also an area where as a people, we also have a problem. When you go today to run for an election, first they begin to ask you, what did you bring for us? And so the money bags, those who have the resources, will simply just buy over, and whether they have what to offer or they don't have. And these are the people. So as a people, as Nigerians, we must also begin to question ourselves and begin to think twice. Otherwise, we'll continue this dance around, and we'll continue, and no progress. Every year you hear a huge amount of money is spent, you call it constituency. What do you really achieve? One of the easiest ones they do, they say training. What kind of training? They organize, spend huge resources.
Well, let me ask, Doctor, why is it so difficult for us to trace these constituency projects that money are being allocated for? Because when you like you said earlier, there are 109 senators, and you cannot point to particular projects most of them have done, and yet we keep having these allocations to National Assembly every budgetary year.
What happened is that some of these are senators. Some of the senators, they are even constituency there, they don't know them. Since they vote them, they come to Abuja, they don't go to the community again. Yes. When they are using 0701, they come here, they use 090. You won't even communicate with them. So when you are coming from the gate, they will tell you, say, it's not on seat, it's on the meeting. You only take some people as a PA, as NSA, those ones who are less there. If you want to do anything, we send them with a small, little money, maybe 1 million, distribute to the common man there, they will be shouting, hey, when you come there, they hail him. I said, look, how many of them will come out in the floor, including the Senate president, and say, I do this? This is the second I challenge all of them. I say it's only watch in TV, do their program and let us see. You don't see the food that with this fasting, with the way the Yari distribute food in Zamfara. The senator again was Sheikh Buba. It's the first time. Go to Bauchi, you know what who doesn't know. Ningi is from there now. How why they not make sure the Ningi? It is not me, I know Ningi because of this problem. What I always see in television. What are you talking about? These people, they are only for themselves and their family. Maybe the thing they want to share, it does not get him where he's supposed to go. But it's not, they are not fighting for masses.
You are right.
They are fighting for their side. Well, I say 109, only 2 are working. Suppose all other ones say we as I'm fasting now. Another Muslim said also the distribution like the way Yari do it. We've already cry about this. They are waiting everything when they release the money from here for Abuja. They buy the best car. They have their girlfriend. They buy the girlfriend car. Buy a 2 million phone. Then the girl will be busting again, going everywhere. When they call him, they say I'm senator. When they get, you only see your senator in the full of there. I'm senator representing those people. Bauchi, I don't know you, my senator. I've never seen him one day move emotion, and he's a senator. What about, look, unless if we the masses, we understand where are we going and what is our problem. From 90 Obasanjo to them, most of them, they are still in the government and they are ruling us. They are governor of the state, they come back, they become senator, from senator they get another position. They are not going back. They born you to rule. They born you to work only you in the government. There's some state now, any governor, they bring, they will have problem. Okay, look at Obosaki have problem with Oshomole when they bring you. Ganduje have problem with Konkoso. Akume have problem with Oton. Now you have problem again still with the present governor. So what are we going? And then from 90 he was a governor, senator, now secretary to the government. What you concern with the project of the governor? Allowed him to do his job. The only thing say, oh boy, do this, do this, do this. But that is the problem we're having. When they want to continue ruling, their family. Okay, look at even, let's put it even to the president himself. President was the governor of Lagos State. He becomes senator. After he drove, he give his wife, the first lady. After the first lady, she continue with senator till the president one contest she drop. And then where do you see they do a budget of first lady? Even not Nigeria, even where we borrow the democracy in America, do they first lady budget? What is he doing with the budget? Which work is he doing? The people who are buying $1 billion of naira, what people are dying in Hungary. Come, what this Hungary tomorrow will come out. Protest. That is our life. What are you talking about?
We shouldn't be calling for protest at this moment. But
we will not worry because Hungary is too much.
Let me come back to you. Let's come back to the budget.
What are you talking about?
Budget padding. We've been able to establish the fact that the word padding was adopted when we start discovering abnormalities in our budget. Now, how do we begin to harmonize these issues now? Because from the presidency or the executive, we've not really had much from them regarding this very issue. How do we begin to go about this so that we don't keep having the recurrence of issues like this each time we get to a budgetary year?
Okay, first and foremost, we need to have some fundamentals right. If I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me right, in US where we copy this presidential system, by February, the president submits the budget of the country. So there's a budget office even within the legislature which does a whole lot of work on the budget. When was this budget submitted? On the 31st or 30th of November, just within 30 days, for a budget of a country of the size of Nigeria, and within 30 days. So you are going to, such situation, you will never have a thorough job done. It's going to be a shoddy job. It's just more or less, okay, let's add this one, let's reduce. You go and look at our budget. Every year, you'll find almost the same items repeated in the budget. Now, for instance, in US, when you submit February, you have all from that February to November, December, you have a whole lot of time to work on it, to pass it to the president for assent. Now, how many of our legislators, they are supposed to have constituency offices in their constituencies? From the constituency office, you generate data. You generate, okay, constituency A. This is the pressing need of the people. You generate this information. So when the executive submits the budget, Based on what you generate from your constituency, it guides you. It helps you in shaping the budget for the benefit of your constituency. We don't do that. And nobody is talking about it. And I think there's provision for them to have constituency offices. Your constituency office should be like your liaison office, where you interact with your constituents. We don't do that. And nobody's questioning this. Nobody's saying anything about these things. If we don't get these fundamentals right, there should be a provision in our laws that it becomes law, mandatory, that at so time, the budget should be laid before the legislature, so that they have enough time to do all the work on it. Look at, okay, last year, agency this, agency A, budgeted to do this. How far have they done with that? Then this year, are they repeating the same item? Is it continuation? These are fundamentals that we must get right. If we don't get them, this cycle will continue, and at the end of the day, we'll just, every time it happens, we'll come sit down on television, radio, and talk, and it ends there.
Well, I don't know if Doctor shares your thoughts of project preparation for us to avoid what is termed hardening in that budget.
I'm not, look, anything Emmanuel said is a corrective, but do we do it? Those people, they are in haste to get what they achieve. They are not after masses. I have people who vote me and they are representing them. And if you watch, during Obasanjo, the appointment he did, perfectly he appointed from everywhere. One Jonathan come is the same thing. One Buhari come, almost all the appointment, he do it from the north. One Oga, His Excellency come again, all the appointment you do all is from southwest. So how can we get this type of distance? When you come, you only carry people whom you are from the side, whom you work with them as a governor, you appoint them all as a minister. Then you want to get result because they are your boys. Other people vote you from different places. It's not possible. We are not going for democracy. We are going for man, no man. And person you are from. I speak Hausa, I put Hausa. I speak Yoruba. When I come here, I put all Yoruba. They don't do something like this. You carry everybody alone. You get vote from everybody. But me, I don't want to talk because our vote will be determined on 2027. Our vote will be determined.
Well, it seems you digressed from the question I asked, Doctor.
My brain is charging. People are not eating this. We just sit down for television, they talk.
All right, but I want you to look at it from this area. Do we have Nigerians who are sensitized enough to actually call their lawmakers to order when they see things like that?
Where do you see the lawmaker? Lawmaker is here in Abuja writing a vehicle of 150 million, and he says he's fighting for you 150 million. How many of them get up and say they don't need that motor? How many of them get up and say, no, I have a masses and they don't have a food, I don't need this motor? None of them. 150, they said is for their overseas where they will use a jeep, go from place to place. Why? Me, I'm using Okada. Then where you go see the member? The more you come here, if you call him, say try again later. It's what you see
in advanced democracy, they can recall these members if you feel.
Look, the time when they call Dino Malai, does he go back? They don't know this thing. They plan it, they call Dino Malai with Yaebel when they have this thing, they call him, does he go back? It's not possible. As far as Nigeria, in another country, but for Nigeria, if you vote me as a senator, I come here. You know, if you remove me till the day election come, you remove by your vote. Even though so I'm still there, and even if you remove by the vote, I will still contest it for court. It is only Nigeria you see somebody come, maybe you don't even have a vote. Many people, I'm telling you, I don't want to call a minister who come now. They weren't there, they contest, they cannot be able to make it even in primary, but they are now ruling. Look, people fail to understand that those are senators, they are not helping us anything. Look, you have a senator, they are not working. You have a minister. This is the first time we have 45 ministers, only 3 of them are working. Health, Wike, and Omahi. The rest, we don't know where they are working to. 42, we don't know where they are working to. And the Senate doesn't call them to the job. How do you do this job? They are fighting for budget party because they are not, some of them have not getting their own share.
Well, I understand your anger, if I have to put it that way, but as a way of wrapping up this very discussion segment, but we have to give way for the next segment. What will be your thoughts, or rather your advice to the legislature, both House of Reps and the Senate, going forward. So we don't have this heated argument again that we saw in the National Assembly. Should Nigi be recalled or should tender its apology just like the Senate President ruled yesterday?
For me, you see, as it is now, a whole Bauchi Central now is without representation at the Senate. Much as I agree that Ningi was also playing politics, the leadership of the Senate was also playing politics for survival. Of course, at some point, Bamidele came out, there was no pretense. He came out obviously from what some of us already knew that was playing out, and he came out and when he said for the first time, let him speak like a Southerner. Now, what many of these people, still a lot of us still do not understand that. As a senator, you are not a senator of your alone. You are, that's why you are addressed as senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which means Nigeria as a whole is your constituency, much as you come from a place and the place should be of interest to you, but you look at the bigger picture. The Senate, the House of Rep, usually is supposed to be where you have vibrant, young, hot-blooded. Then the Senate is supposed to serve as a moderation, to moderate. That was the wisdom of having these two chambers. Now, if I expect that senators should behave much more matured than than they are presently behaving. And so one would advise, I don't know if they will even take it serious, one would advise that even we as electorate, next time we should look at people very well before you must have you must have a pedigree. Where are you coming from? What have you done? Where have you been? What have you achieved? We look at your temperament and the rest of it before we think about electing you as our representative.
I must thank you so much, gentlemen, for being on the program this morning. I have from my far right Dr. Garos Gololo, an APC chieftain, and I think it's from Bauchi State where Nigi heads for. That's why you could reason with his sentiments when these issues of budget paddings come up. Thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, and Emmanuel Tafa from Benue State is also a political analyst and a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much again for being on the program.
It's a pleasure.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we return, it will be time for this morning on ITV social media segment with NN Esther.